And welcome everybody to This Is Difficult, the podcast. And we got a very special one up for you. First of all, it's my co-host Zach's birthday today. Oh, I definitely didn't just find out right before the show started.
It's in the title of the show. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, I definitely didn't just jump right in. Welcome everybody. This is difficult. I promise you that. And we talk about video games and video game related things. And yeah, we got a good one for you. And I'm gonna pass it off to Paul. Oh wait, no, I am your co-host, Lord Yeshua. It's me, Josh. Yes, here to start us off. And we're on Paul's channel. That's where you got me, son, right there. And then Zach's birthday, of course. It's another letdown. And welcome.
What's up,
Paul? What do we got today?
What do we got today? Well, dude, honestly, it feels like it's everyone's birthday this weekend.
Oh, good. Me too.
Had a birthday for a good friend of mine yesterday, and we did my mom's birthday today, which is technically both of them are tomorrow. But then my sister's is Monday, and then tomorrow I have another friend named Zach. The 5th, Tuesday. I have another friend named Zach whose birthday is also exactly today.
Wow. It's weird, actually. So my grandma's birthday was actually the 27th, and my mom's birthday is the 31st. Also, still within the week.
Yeah, it's wild.
A lot of birthdays.
A lot of April birthdays.
End of March, we'll call it.
Yeah, end of March, April, beginning of
early spring.
Early spring.
Yeah, it's sprung.
It makes sense.
Yeah, well, then it makes more sense. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, you think people are born then, so you got to clock it back 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's like June.
Let's not go there.
All right, we're not talking
about that right now.
You guys know how that works, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Welcome to health class.
But yeah, So let's start with you, Josh. How you been this week?
Yes.
What you been up to?
Just grinding over the grindstone, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
And then playing a lot of Elden Ring for sure. A little bit of Kirby. Played some Donkey Kong Country. Oh, it's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, just drilled through it. Little speed run of it. Elden Ring, amazing. You know, what else are we gonna say? We're gonna be playing it for a while. We pretty much did the review.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah. Not much more to say. You become a god at a certain point. I'm kind of entering that on the god phase, and then you're fighting other gods.
Well, you know what's funny is like as you get towards the end game in that game, you feel like you're a god until you don't, because you'll run up on something and be like, "Oh, this will be easy," and then just be like, "Boom!" You get freaking,
Yeah, like literally, I was gonna go up and fight
get Will Smith,
and then a giant spider hand like dropped on top of me, and I'm like, "Nah, what?"
Yeah.
I can't do anything. But everything is crazy and kills you. But as is life.
As is life.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Kirby's good. I'm not playing as much Kirby as I am Elden Ring, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really good. I do intend on continuing it.
Yeah.
No games in the near future, so I'm gonna play Tunic probably at some point. And
I've got Tunic installed. I want to play Tunic. Yeah. I think you should review Tunic though.
I think Tunic would be a good one for me, because then I could really contrast it with like what it's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge it based on that, but I can at least like see how close it got to the needle. You could probably see that too, I'm sure though.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be better suited for.
I do love Nintendo stuff. Yeah. It is a really cool. So for those who don't know what Tunic is, this is our next game. The next game on our radar, basically, that we've been talking about. It's a top-down, diagonal top-down.
Like asymmetric.
Strategy-based adventure type Zelda game. It's really the only best way to. I don't even know what you call that game anymore. It's just like a top-down adventure.
Yeah, it's like a Zelda-like with some other influence. In fact, I think there's like a Souls influence as well to a degree.
Oh, does it have a Dark Souls?
From what I hear, yeah.
Well, that's really nice.
But I mean, the character looks exactly like Link if you just if you made him a fox.
Yeah, it's furry.
Link is a furry.
Yeah, it's furry Link.
Link is a furry, but if other people are humans, I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck? But it's like an animal kingdom. It's like, it's cute. But then how seriously can we take it? That's why Zelda is so good, is because the lore is so deep reaching and rich. And it's like, these are people and stuff and characters. But like Tunic is like kind of a for fun game, I can see. But it still might be really good.
Yeah.
And the mechanics could be like reinvented. And, I think so. Zelda, actually, a quick note, guys, a brief news is that Breath of the Wild was announced to be coming out in early, I believe, 2023 is what they're saying now. They're shooting for probably March, I would guess. And I think it's bullshit, first of all.
No one on this podcast called this.
No one, but also
a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. I truly think that we could still see it in 2024. I'd be happy to play this in 2023 on the Switch. The current Switch model, that'd be really good. But
I think he's got his numbers mixed up, Paul.
Yeah, this is a
What?
weird take, Josh.
what are you saying?
You're saying that you would wait 2 more years to
Yes.
play it on the current Switch model.
No, I'm saying I'd play it now happily on the current one,
Oh.
but I'd gladly wait for the next gen also, is what I'm
I
saying.
think he
in
mistakenly said
2024.
2024 when he meant 2023.
No, well, okay, yeah. Basically what I meant, god damn it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just kind of found him somewhere.
Yeah.
What I mean is, I'm not gonna be mad if they delay the game more at all.
Oh, no,
for
yeah.
the next gen. Yeah.
Like,
they're
honestly-
saying it's coming out in 2023 is what I'm saying.
I
But I don't
genuinely
believe
think
them.
that they're gonna announce a new hardware.
Yeah, you think they're announcing
alongside
new
it.
hardware right after that.
Probably
I
alongside
think
it.
This announcement is a coin flip, in my opinion. Whether it's gonna
Honestly,
happen or
Josh,
not.
I think if it wasn't for the chip shortage right now, we would have already heard
Yeah,
about a
but-
new console. And the Switch OLED was a stopgap. You know,
It's gonna be so
because
hard
they
to get your
had
hands on, dude.
yeah.
Oh my god, I can't imagine how hard it's gonna be to grab. But that being said, Zelda, it's gonna be cool. Is that what we're
Yeah.
doing with that?
Considering we're talking about Breath of the Wild, who are you and what have you done with?
I think they
who are
hold
we
they,
and what have you done with this podcast?
they held off on it because of Elden Ring. I feel like also they could have
No.
like probably
It has
I don't
nothing to
think-
do with Elden Ring.
think so.
Doesn't
Absolutely.
they're constantly refining this game based on other people think about other games.
I don't think so.
I see what he's saying. Like
Nintendo tweaking in
basically-
production.
Yeah,
based
I mean,
on,
here's Elden
peer
Ring,
review.
basically the perfect.
This is an
world
open
game.
world Zelda game. Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to look at it
So-
and be like, "Uh-oh, these are some things
I
we
just-
kind of didn't do." And Elden Ring kind of like, maybe we should just throw this in real quick.
I mean,
Just
you
a
have to
thought, food for
assume-
thought. Food for thought.
You have to assume that they have heard the criticism about their handling of
Yeah.
the open world system.
Agree.
in
They've
Breath-
heard about their durability. They've heard about how their open world system's been handled, and now they see Elden Ring, the perfect fucking open world
Right.
game,
And
and they're
so
like, "Uh-oh, we haven't changed anything since 2017. Uh-oh."
I think that
Yeah.
most other developers would do that. I don't think
don't think
Nintendo.
Nintendo is
I
gonna stick
think
to its
I think
guns.
Nintendo sticks to their guns. They have that Nintendo formula. They have that Nintendo feel. They have
They really
what they
do.
consider to be like,
Yeah. The
yeah.
pull you in factor.
Like once they're set on an idea, they're sticking to that, and I think that they just
Yeah.
that number one, they did want to get the game right,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
also they want it to be playable on better hardware, and I bet you anything that there will be, it's going to be a cross-gen release, so they'll release it
yeah, they
to be
like to do that.
playable on the original Switch, but it's going to be enhanced, better frame rates, better graphics, so on the
Yeah.
enhanced Switch. So
I will say the only small like theory against that is like the second Zelda usually isn't the one that's ported. It's usually like the first one in a new series. So if it's like Breath 2 truly, like Majora's Mask, like sometimes it just drop that on the later end of the console.
Here's the
They have
thing.
known to do that,
Here's the thing.
but
Also,
it's
they
not saying
haven't
that's
they
gonna be
haven't they haven't named this. They just keep calling it the
I
sequel
don't
to
know
Breath of
why
the
they do
Wild.
that. I think it's because the name spoils something like Ganon.
Mhm.
That they said
It's gonna
that.
be like Gerudo Blood or something
Yeah.
like that. Something fucking amazing.
Did you guys see that they're like, so we hear you don't like durability, right? So
What?
we destroyed the Master Sword. Did you see
Is that what I said? No.
Did you see the Master Sword? It's broken in the new game. The Master Sword is broken.
Oh. No, I didn't see any of these
It's like
things.
broken. Like it's.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably gonna be a thing. in the
Anyway.
course.
Let's move on from this.
Master Sword breaks because Ganon
What if
is
you
like
play
he undoes the cycle probably or some shit. Becomes Link. A
There's a lot of
That
theories
was
about that.
lot
Or
of
Link
things,
Link
theories
becomes
within
Ganon.
Blood.
Yeah,
Link
there's a lot of
Ganon.
theories about that. Kind
In
of
the end,
cool.
It causes the destructioning again or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Pretty
move on.
dope.
I'll go.
Next.
Zach will get yours last because you have a mystery review that you're
Mystery
a
review.
mystery game that you want to. Anyway, this week like I said, as far as like non-video game related things, been doing a lot of birthday stuff for people. It's been good. Been fun, a little stressful, but fun. And a little cocktail party last night. You know what? I've been an adult for a while. This has been my first like real cocktail party.
Your gala,
Yeah,
your coming out party.
it was dope. It was
You
dope. We
walk down
did
the
like
stairs and
making some, nice like old fashions and things like that.
Okay,
It was
that's pretty dope.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's nice.
It's good to be an adult every once in a while.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do some more of those. It was fun. But yeah, and then gaming wise, I beat Elden Ring, before last week. We did our review of it, and so I've been trying to kind of branch out from that game because I don't want it to just rule my life all summer, which it probably will anyway. I do need to be playing other games, so I picked up Kirby.
And?
I think that game is incredibly charming, and it looks great, but it's painfully easy and a little bit boring. It reminds me very much of Kirby 3 on the Super Nintendo. And, I'm still going to keep playing it. I am enjoying it. Like I said, it is very charming. But something about it
coming off of,
So I've thought about that a lot. And, thinking like maybe everything seems dull, coming from playing Elden Ring
is insanely epic.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true though. Not that Elden Ring isn't epic, but like, I don't dislike easy games, but
I mean, I played Donkey Kong and it was incredible.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't call Donkey Kong easy though. That's maybe for you who speedruns it, but but and like I said, I don't hate Kirby. I'm not super far in it, so maybe it gets better. I hope it does.
It does get a little more challenging.
I'm also very interested in the co-op, which is local only, unfortunately.
It's only local, I'm realizing. Yeah. I wanted to put that Band-Aid too.
But I think actually it might be one that my wife would be interested in playing because, it's an easy enough game. It's a very charming game, cute characters. And you don't have to mess with camera control really, which is a thing that really trips her up in 3D games. So
it's kind of like 3D World in that regard. Yeah.
So that might be a good one to play with her co-op. So might check that out. So yeah, I'm not writing that game off, but I haven't, I'm not in love with it per se. I downloaded Tunic, but I haven't started playing that yet. I'm definitely excited about playing that. And then finally, I played with my Game Boy a lot this week. Various games. I didn't sit there and really dig into one particular game, but I just kind of switched between a few and I had some fun with that. I was telling Zach before the show started that Game Boy is always what I kind of regress to. It just has the ultimate nostalgia, that ultimate good feeling of gaming. It's comfortable, it's fun.
There's something about flat games that really do that for me. I know obviously 3D games are incredible, but all the games on the Game Boy, aside for 1 or 2, are 2D, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's 2 buttons on the Game Boy. It feels so comfortable. Just the simplicity of these games.
Yeah, 2 buttons and a D-pad, a tiny, low res screen, but just excellent gameplay. And that's
you can have Link's Awakening on that. Come on.
Dude, Link's Awakening is a perfect game.
That could be all you have. And you're damn, it's the best console. That 6 golden coins in the Donkey Kong lands, and I'm done.
Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Pokemon.
Yeah. And Pokemon. Yeah. Red or green.
Yep.
Or blue or green. Wait,
there's a bunch of other good RPGs on there too, man. Yeah. So it's fantastic. You've got the Final Fantasy Adventures and Legend, and you've got Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest Monsters, and which Dragon Quest Monsters, if you ask me, is the best alternative to Pokemon. I think it's got a much better breeding system than Pokemon has ever had.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so you can as opposed to Pokemon, where you breed 2 Pokemon and it always breeds the same type of Pokemon, result. You can breed 2 different monsters together and get a totally new monster. And then every time you breed it, you get your breed plus 1, breed plus 2, breed plus 3. It keeps going. So you can get like bigger stacks of modifiers, and your stats will grow higher and be able to get to higher levels with those.
There's something to that. There's
it's
something
fantastic.
To that, actually. That's really a cool concept.
It's really good.
Yeah,
so those games are excellent.
Yeah, you really only need like under 10 games and you have the perfect console. But anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Zach, what about you, man? Let's hear about the birthday boy.
Birthday boy.
So it is my birthday, but this is also mine and my wife's weekend to work. So I didn't expect to get as much gaming in as I did, but my furnace decided to have other plans. My furnace gave me a birthday present by breaking yesterday. But it was due to a power outage, so it just needed to be reset. And
nice.
It was fine. But it meant that I got to stay home yesterday and play Elden Ring all day.
Of course you did.
Which was awesome. And I got into a fight. I mean, I'm in the point now where I'm like, okay, competent. Yeah, I'm competent, but like also I really I thrive on having another human player to chat with, work with. So whenever I'm trying to move the plot forward, I'll take a few stabs at it myself. I'm working on the second major boss,
Godric,
thank you. And I'm doing okay at it, but I could definitely use another human player to help.
Are you summoning Nephili when you fight Godric?
Yeah, you could pull a hunter. Yeah, nice. I could not do that fight solo. Me and Colin.
No, absolutely not.
I thought that fight was easier than.
I know you said that.
It's crazy. Yeah,
I realized I was really. Sorry, go ahead.
Mechanically, it's much easier than Margit.
Yeah,
definitely. But there's just a couple of things that I haven't quite figured out yet, and realistically, there's enough content in that game that I can keep myself occupied doing other things while I wait for either Paul or Chamali or you, Josh, or whomever to come give me a hand, and get me through the plot stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't, and I don't feel bad about that. I think that's a great way to play the game.
I do too. I think that's one of the best things about the way this game is designed.
I think it could be refined in its system, but I think it is in concept the best part of the game is being able to play this. Being able to play an adventure game together is unheard of.
It's so cool. So I went and did a bunch of stuff in the south. Absolutely rollicked that castle. It was so much fun. I found this little dungeon off to the side that had a boss that kept me occupied most of the day yesterday. But it was one that I kept getting really, really close, and I'm like, oh, man, I can do this. I know I can do this. I just got to get through the little minions that protect her.
I know. I hate those.
And I finally did, and I was like, okay, that's a good place to stop. I'm going to go grind for a level and then stop. And that it worked out great. And so, yeah, that's really the only game that I've played other than on stream. We did more Gears Tactics, which is, I can't believe how much fun that game is. And with the new graphics card installed, it looks gorgeous. Ooh. It looks so beautiful. We've been running it on really low graphics just to make sure that Alex can see it through Parsec, because his laptop is not definitely nowhere near the specs of my desktop, even before the graphical upgrade. But we were just on a whim. We were like, let's try it on maximum graphics because it can because my PC can handle it now. And he was like, yeah, it's coming through on Parsec. Great.
Incredible.
Absolutely no problems.
So I cannot run on maximum anymore and do co-op. We keep crashing. We haven't crashed since I've reduced.
Honestly, I'm not running Elden Ring on max. I'm running on a medium just because I don't really notice that much of a difference.
I'm running it on the one right under max, and we haven't had any issues.
Yeah,
that's where insane that it runs so well for you. It runs ass on my computer, and my computer is twice as strong as yours.
You can stream it though. Yeah, that's true. But I think it's because you're streaming it, right?
No, I'm streaming from the PS5.
It's weird. When I'm playing by myself, it's the smoothest game, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it.
Ironed out a lot of the problems too. Yeah. I haven't got the invisible horse glitch in a while.
I got that once ever. Never had a glitch by myself, except one time a guy was hanging under a thing and walking around, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
So yeah, those are really the only games that I played this week, other than similarly to Paul, a bunch of random Game Boy games. Now that I have my upgraded DMG Game Boy,
get on that Game Boy craze.
It's great. But that said, I did notice, and it is a known issue, that the Clean Juice mod, the battery mod that I put in, has a redundant circuit in it that drains the battery even when you're not using it.
Oh, that's not good. Is that going to hurt the Game Boy?
No, it doesn't hurt the Game Boy. It's fine. It's just rapidly draining batteries.
I don't love that.
About a week.
You just take them out when you're not using them?
Nope. It just drains itself.
And you just put it on charger?
Yeah. I just leave it charged most of the time, just like I would my phone.
Dies.
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But it is a known issue that the Clean Juice guy refuses to support. Basically,
he just doesn't know how to fix it.
He made a Reddit post or an Instagram post. I'm sorry, saying, "Oh, join my Discord and I'll show you how to fix it." Well, he showed the Game Boy Advance one how to fix it, but he has not put up a diagram for the Pocket or the BFG. So
is it different? Like
it's a different
engineering.
He wouldn't just do that to someone. He wouldn't just like fuck you guys over. I feel like, especially if he's creating something
he's
so cool.
been pretty awful about it, actually.
Really? Oh, that's not good.
He's Handheld Legend, where I got it, will take the faulty ones and replace them. They'll do it.
Oh, nice.
But I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Like I can just leave it plugged in.
I mean, I think it's okay if it's unplugged and fully charged. How long does it last?
Days, multiple days.
That's incredible because it charges 4 hours. I remember like
it charges in less than
like lucky on my return.
Then that's not really that big a problem.
It's not a big issue. It's not even worth it.
He's probably like, "Fuck you guys, dude! I made an amazing product."
So yeah, that's it's whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, fair.
But what I do care about is what I've got to review today.
A surprise review.
It is a surprise. I have not sent the link to Paul. I have not even told Paul what I'm reviewing. Every time he asks, I say the following words. No, I can't tell you. It's confidential.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
I have a feeling I know.
Oh, no. I hate my life for feeling I know this. Is this real?
Okay.
This is real.
Why?
I'm pulling it up. Okay. Hang on.
Zach is just because it's your birthday. We're allowing this.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you bastard.
All right. I'll switch over.
Here we go. I can't wait to see the gameplay.
All right. We're on.
So I am reviewing The Room, the video game.
I can't believe this is a game, dude. I can't believe that I called it.
Freaking riot. And they use sound bites from the actual movie. So for those who don't know, The Room is a terrible movie.
The Room, the game.
Of bad movies. Written, directed, produced, and starring
worst movie.
Tommy Wiseau, this strange, he has to be an alien, who somehow made a bunch of money. We don't know how, and bought the equipment, bought the equipment outright to fund this movie, and just kept throwing piles and piles and piles of cash at it, multiple millions of his own dollars. And the production was horrific, an absolute ordeal for everybody involved. They've actually made a movie about that called The Disaster Artist,
which is hilarious.
Which is a great movie. It's actually legitimately a great movie.
It's kind of horrible to watch.
It is one of my favorite movies to watch with people who don't know what they're getting into.
It's really uncomfortable.
It's incredibly uncomfortable. It's so wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, it is.
And the main character, of course, played by Tommy Wiseau, he talks like this, and don't worry about it, Mark. It'll be fine.
So
and
I hate my life.
So on September 3rd of 2010, Newgrounds commissioned this thing that exists.
This abomination, apparently. You mean?
So this is a pixel art game, an indie thing.
At least it's pixel art.
It's actually really like incredible pixel.
Looks like Undertale.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like Undertale. And so it's on PC. I presume you can play it on mobile as well. It's just a point and click RPG. Okay. That's all it is. And it takes you through blow by blow the story of The Room. But what it does try to do is fill in some of the strange gaps. Like it actually shows you spend half the game just walking from your bedroom to work. Okay. You have to do that like 8 different times.
That's so terrible.
You have to take a shower repeatedly because for no other reason than you stink. It just shows little swirlies above your head that show that you stink.
At least it tells you.
The same ridiculous nudity and gratuitous nonsense is in the game that is in the movie.
Oh, neat.
There's a great Tuxedo Alley football game that you have to play. It's just that foolish browser game thing where you have to stop the bar in the middle.
Oh, very interesting.
And as it goes back and forth, and There's a fight scene with a guy named Chris R, who has a gun, and you have a water bottle.
Okay.
You can throw your water bottle at him. That's about all you can do. I did win that fight.
Oh, good. See how
Even
that
if
could
you
go bad
lose,
way.
it doesn't matter. It just continues the plot.
Okay, this doesn't kill you.
Nope. There is an autosave feature that is incredibly creepy. It's this weird close-up pixel art of Tommy opening his eyes slowly. It's weird. What did I like about the game? Not much.
Oh,
other
no.
than the fact that I was giggling like a child the whole time.
You would hate it.
So weird and so strange. And it did, like I said, I love showing people the room, even though it's a terrible movie. By the way, I do have an autographed copy of The Room.
That's so weird. That's actually amazing.
We didn't hear any of that because Josh was talking over you. Go ahead.
Tommy wrote, "To Zach, love is blind." Tommy was nice. And I was like, all right, there that is. But he didn't sign like the DVD insert. He signed a postcard of his headshot.
Weird.
It's super strange.
That's fantastic.
We're all just accepting what you're telling us.
Oh yeah, actually right behind me. But
we don't.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot to like about the game.
Let me pause you real quick. Did you just like during your stream? Did you cut the feed of the game because of the gratuitous nudity or something?
I tried.
Okay.
And then I gave up.
Oh Lord!
Because it just happens over and over and over and over.
No.
Every time you walk from the bed to the shower, your dick is hanging out.
Oh man!
It's like it's pixel art, so it's
as
like whatever
the Lord intended.
So yeah, I gave up on that very quickly. I was not streaming this. I set it up like my stream, and it is on YouTube. Join our Discord. I will post the link there. It is Discord exclusive content.
Cool.
There you go.
There you go. Nice sell. Nice sell.
Yeah, it's not posted publicly because I do have students who know where my YouTube is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably don't watch this.
Yeah. Nope. So they're not to watch this. The pixel art is really good for what this is.
It does look good.
It's actually quite incredible. There's a lot of detail involved. There's a lot of in jokes in the background and stuff. The dummy who talks about his underwears at some point in the movie has crossed eyes because he's just stupid. They explain there's a character called Peter in the movie who shows up in one scene and then never again because the actor just quit. But they just wrote it on the plot. In the game, he gets run over by a car.
Nice.
Wow.
So he literally just gets brutally murdered in the game, and they never talk about it. It's just Chris R drives over him, and that's it. So yeah, there's a lot of fun little just nostalgic bits that reference The Room, but the gameplay is god awful. Coming off of Grim Fandango, which will probably be my next review, which is, I would say, the ultimate point and click RPG in a lot of ways. This game just lacked so much. It was pretty dog-ass. What didn't I like about it? I mean, it's tedious. It's so tedious. You spend, like I said, half the game just walking back and forth from your apartment to wherever else, whether that happens to be work or the gym or not the cafe and the place where you run around and play football, the alley where you play football, the roof where you play football.
Why is there so much? I've never actually seen the Room. Why is there so much football?
I don't remember being that much football.
Because it's a real American movie, Paul.
Okay.
No more Mickey Mouse shit. Yeah, because apparently real American movies have football in them.
Cool.
And tuxedos in an alley.
Only American movies have football in them.
And they do. There's a iconic bit where Tommy, as Johnny, goes, "You are tearing me apart, Lisa," and they used a GIF of that as part of the game, and they used the original soundbite. That's the only time you actually hear his voice, or maybe there's one other, but there's a whole there's New Game Plus to this where you have to collect all the spoons. Like you have to go back and collect the spoons, and you get a different ending. I did not play that, I could
No,
not be arsed to
I'll
play
opt
this
out
game
of
again.
that. Mhm.
So was the story engaging? I mean, in so much as it's The Room, like, no is the answer, really.
Shit,
But it's The Room, so I'll give it a pass.
sounds
The
painful.
gameplay, was it fun? No, not really.
Oof, I love where this is going.
Mechanically, it was so boring. There's nothing there. The pixel art is great for what this is. It's really good. The music also is exceptionally good for what this is. The sound design is incredibly generic. Your standard like River City Ransom kind of stuff. How long did it take me? Just over an hour. It's really short. I mean, it's a Newgrounds game, so like
It's that tedious. It's an hour long.
Yeah, there is that.
That's hilarious.
It's
so fucking
so, but I was determined. I was like, I got to play this whole game. It sucks, but I'm going to do it. And I had 1 hour free, or just 1 hour and change. And I mean, this is something I've had on the back burner for quite a while. Chamali and RPD and
a regular burner.
And I was like, I wonder if I can pull a fast one on Paul and Josh and review this as kind of an April Fool's joke.
Good call.
Yeah.
On
So
April
Blink
3rd.
says he foresees a 1.6. I don't think it's quite that low. It's definitely in the 2 range. Like it's like a 2.4 or something. It's bad.
2.4, you think?
Mark it as a game, it's like a 2.4. It's really trash. But as an homage to The Room,
a meta,
I think they absolutely nailed it. The game was necessarily this bad because the movie was so bad.
That's good.
So like as an homage to The Room, as an intentional thing, it's an absolute 10 out of 10. But that does not make it a good game. And as a game, it's like a 2.4.
That's fair.
So would I play a sequel? Hell no. God no. Because there should be a sequel
from The Room. Yeah.
And I would not play a New Game Plus. I would not play it here or there. I would not play it with a Fox. I would not play it in a box. I would not play it on a train. I would not play it in the rain.
Be careful with my brain.
Zach has turned into Dr. Seuss. I just punched my mic.
He's got his PhD overnight.
So yeah, no. But I mean, like if you're a fan of The Room, play the game. I guess maybe if you're bored for an hour, it's goofy. It did make me laugh. I mean, my sides were sore from laughing so hard.
Okay, that's fun at least.
So it's got that bit going for it. It's got cool art. It's got cool music, but literally nothing else.
I know.
So probably just watch my video. It's probably the easiest thing to do.
That's true. Okay. You can just watch that and then you don't have to play the game.
Exactly. I played it, so you don't have to. 2.4. Tommy Wiseau's The Room, the game. Don't play.
Trash.
Don't play.
I love that it was a bad review.
That's hilarious. All right, does that wrap that up?
The most uncomfortable review ever, for sure.
Very uncomfortable.
All
right, let's switch on back.
Next up for us.
That was fun. Well done, Zach.
It was fun, though. It was fun.
Well played.
I like having a non-serious game every once in a while.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, we've been reviewing things like Elden Ring and
building tension.
You're right. We typically review games that are, that we really want to play and we really enjoy. And so that kind of like the consequence of that is we have pretty high scoring games all the time, which is fine, right? Because you want to see the games that you want to play. Sure. Yeah. But it's nice to have contrast, and I think that's good. This might be a little overcorrection, but you know,
like maybe Kirby.
Maybe Kirby, yeah. So our topic of discussion tonight, which we're actually going to do last week, but we ended up running way over on time last week, is New Game Plus. So we're doing it for real this time. Does New Game Plus suck?
Or not.
First of all, what is New Game Plus? So New Game Plus, if you've never heard of it, I think the first game ever to include New Game Plus was Chrono Trigger.
Ah, yes.
And what New Game Plus allows you to do is once you've finished the game, you can then play back through the game. usually with all of like the upgrades and items and stuff that you've gotten along the way.
Or your levels.
And levels, yeah. And that allows for you to, and typically, especially with something like a Souls game, like the game will also scale up in difficulty to kind of match your, what you're carrying into the game going forward. But it allows you to approach different encounters with different abilities that you wouldn't have normally had just starting out in the game. And that's basically it. Would you say there's any other like things to the basics of what New Game Plus is?
I would say basically it's like a chance to play the game again as a god. It's like you finally gotten to the end, but there was just a little more, and like you want more content, and it gives you a new chance basically to do that.
Yeah,
with the same
a
guy.
second adventure. Yeah,
it's not restarting your adventure. Just to say that, but although some games it is, in Chrono Trigger it is actually, but in Elden Ring it's not. You get the whole map basically, and everything kind of just is reset. So it really varies on the game, but to that effect, yeah, it's what that
it
is.
Does vary from game to game. What games have you guys played that have New Game Plus?
Everything escapes me. A really notable one that I really liked actually was Child of Light.
Okay.
So Child of Light, when you first
you reviewed that a couple weeks ago, right?
No, actually. So, okay, that was Children of Light.
Oh.
Child of Light is an Ubisoft game. It's a side-scrolling, all hand-drawn platformer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Time-based RPG like Final Fantasy VII was.
Okay.
It's really good, actually, and everything is like in rhymes. This would be a game I could review, actually. I could,
Cool.
But anyway, what was I literally saying?
We're talking about games that you play with New Game Plus and Child of Light.
So there's like certain things that you collect, like these gems that you can like forge into better abilities, and you can keep forging them, and they only get so strong, right, on the first run because there's only so many. And then New Game Plus, you can go back through basically and get the same ones and forge even better and better. And like, so it actually gives you an advantage to playing New Game Plus. It gives you more content, and it allows you to be even more powerful the next time, not just like, the same game but harder. It's like, oh wow, there's actually like more things to unlock by doing New Game Plus, and that's always fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually, I mean, we'll probably talk about like the pros and cons of or what could make New Game Plus better, things like that. But I think that's definitely one of those things that that gives you like more to do, more to unlock. I think that's good. Zach, what about you? Like, is there any notable games that you've played with New Game Plus or?
Yeah, I mean, or at least some of the Batman Arkham games, Spider-Man, pretty much any one of those comic book games has New Game Plus. I've never explored it because my primary reason for playing those games is to get a story. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason that I would pick up a comic book. Mm-hmm. I want to read the story, put it away, and then maybe if the story is good enough, pick it up years later.
Read it again,
some indeterminate period of time later, and read it again or play it again. That's what I did with Batman Arkham. I love it. I'm not super compelled to engage in New Game Plus because it to me it's just telling the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Typically, I'm the same. There are a few games that I've played New Game Plus on. Ghost of Tsushima, I went through on New Game Plus, mostly because there's two different endings, which I think
you always got
the main reason, like I know the reason Chrono Trigger did New Game Plus was because there was multiple endings, right? And it was one of the first games to do so. Yeah, that's a lot.
Isn't that amazing for a Super Nintendo game?
It's really amazing for a Super Nintendo game. The Souls games also have multiple endings, right? Some really cool endings, and also, they have, unlimited different builds that you can do. So like anytime you pick up a Souls game, like it feels like almost a different adventure, like, and Elden Ring certainly exemplifies that. So, those games in particular are the ones that I've played New Game Plus. There certainly are plenty of other games that I've played that include it, but I haven't bothered with it because there's not really much reason to. For me, kind of the same reason that Zach mentioned. The Neo games have actually excellent New Game Plus. Maybe even better than the Souls games. Like a whole lot of stuff opens up in New Game Plus, and you've got like all sorts of opportunities to do some really cool shit.
Zelda. A lot of Zelda games have hero mode and stuff like that. They give you like an extra challenge or no life, basically 3 heart runs and stuff like that.
Sure.
Wind Waker literally gives you 3 hearts.
Yeah. Do you like New Game Plus? Let's start with Zach.
I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I think it's got room to improve.
Sure.
Especially if they can give you a different story altogether. Now, I understand how expensive that is and how much collaboration you're going to have to ask for between your voice actors and your programmers and the whole 9 yards. But think about Spider-Man. Like, if I could beat up the Sinister Six and then go into New Game Plus and like, yeah, I'm starting over with Kingpin again, but at some point in the story, it's totally different. Like, it's actually a different story. Like a comic book would be.
I was about to say, comic book games seem like perfect for something like this because you could have so many different stories.
Exactly. You could tell all kinds of stuff. Now, granted, that does increase the size of the game quite considerably. But you could also do that with expansion content.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to take my Peter Parker from Spider-Man when Spider-Man 2 comes out and just directly import that character.
Dude, if Chrono Trigger could do 10 different endings on Super Nintendo, certainly in this day and age, you know, they could do that in these. And some games do. Like we said, we mentioned the Souls games, we mentioned the Neo games. That the one drawback to Neo actually is to my knowledge, I don't think there are multiple endings. But I could be wrong about that. But certainly the Souls games, there's tons of different side quests, tons of different, side endings or alternate secret endings.
Right.
And I think that's like a really great way to approach New Game Plus. And you're right, like comic book games would be perfect for, like, to me, that seems like a huge missed opportunity. I don't know why no one's done that yet.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Incredible.
So yeah, I think there's a place for it, and it needs to be done exactly correctly. What that correctness is for any given game is going to vary from game to game. But I think that comic book games, especially if they're going to do New Game Plus, you have to give us a new story.
Sure.
Because the compulsion to play that game is because of story.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, what about you, man? How do you feel about New Game
Plus?
Yeah,
it really varies from, I was thinking more examples as well, so I could answer this right. So I usually do enjoy it, but I need to be like driven into wanting to do it. So I feel like the concept of New Game Plus is basically, you're a god of the next one, right? But like, do you always want to do that? Do you always just want to play the same file again? So if it's just like your levels, your items, and the same shit again, it's like, maybe not so great. But if you find out there's things that only now you're powerful enough to get to, or like anything like that, that's another thing. There's also another example in Wind Waker. I was thinking when you play the game the second time, like clothing changes on certain characters, and the Hylian text is actually translated. So you can read what certain characters are saying. So it actually incentivizes you to play again and like read certain dialogue that you can't see otherwise. So that's an interesting way to do that too. There's tons of ways to do it, I'm trying to think, like Dark Souls and Elden Ring are definitely like two of the better examples, I feel like, just because you're so much more powerful and in such a more engaging experience, like the more you play. But I would say, overall it's enjoyable, but it really has to be done right, because there are certain ones that it's like, what's the point? I would say the issue with the diverging storylines is like Chrono Trigger does it by having multiple variances along the storyline, like early, middle, and late, like kind of to choose your ending basically for you. And so it's not like the story is completely a divergent path, but it's like things that you do that are variables that like affect that path. So I don't know how easy it would be to make like even 3 or 4 like separate storylines that like would converge differently. That could be like so many factors that actually could be pretty hard to build.
Yeah.
But like, I think like opening up the game in different ways maybe is possible.
For sure. What would you guys say? And Josh, you can start on this one. Like pros and cons, just basic pros and cons of New Game Plus.
I would say the con is it's not like different enough. Like it's just like the same shit over again. You're just like, what the fuck am I? Why am I doing
Sometimes,
this?
yeah.
And then the pro is like it's fucking awesome. I mean, you have like so much more power and all this shit you can actually do now. Sometimes the game like begins then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Sometimes
in
it's
some
like
cases.
just harder, and you're like, what's the point? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, Zach, what about you? Do you have any like pros versus cons on New Game Plus?
There's a difficulty dial that needs to be turned.
Sure.
In order to make
and
New
some
Game
games
Plus
do that. Some games do that very well.
Yeah.
But-
In order to make New Game Plus viable, like yes, I can go into the next game feeling like an absolute champ,
Mhm.
unstoppable, rolling over boss after boss, whatever. Or you can introduce new abilities, new
Exactly. Yeah.
new content in some way, and that's also great. But if you're doing that, then you have to allow for teaching.
Sure.
One of the criticisms that I'm going to spoil my Miles Morales review, which is also going to cover the Spider-Man DLC. They turned that difficulty dial way too far and gave you zero ability to improve.
That's right.
And that's like there is a New Game Plus there, but that's just bonus content. That's just DLC. So there's a fine line that needs to be walked, and playtesting that is incredibly difficult because when you've got developers playtesting anything, they're going to be better than you or better than the average player because they made it. They know how the game works.
Sometimes a lot of companies hire like external playtesters that don't have any involvement with the actual development process.
No, that's true. That's absolutely
I
true.
mean, you experienced that yourself with like the Sentinels games.
Yes, that is absolutely true. That is 100% true. But at the same time, someone's making a decision,
sure,
and that's going to be a developer.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had to say, "Oh, let's turn the difficulty dial way up on this DLC with absolutely no ability to improve your Spider-Man at all." You've already got, just by playing the main story, you've got all the equipment, you've got all the upgrades. You're just you're just unlocking cosmetic stuff at this point. And that is not enough to justify a ramp up in difficulty.
No, that's
sure.
silly.
So
it's just a hard mode.
Exactly. And if you're going to do a New Game Plus, like that's a valid way to do it. Just make that clear.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, right. In my mind, New Game Plus is saying, okay, there's still content. There's still a ton of stuff for you to learn and find out and discover. And if you're doing learning, that difficulty dial can't be turned that quite as far as if you're just doing a hard mode.
Yeah, I agree. One that you guys didn't mention that I think is both a pro and a con is content gating. So there's a lot of games that will gate certain content behind New Game Plus. Like there will be parts of the game that you can't even touch in your first playthrough without having beaten it first. And I think that in some ways that can be cool because that, like we had mentioned before, it adds more experience. It adds new experiences to the game. But if the game doesn't offer you enough to enjoy going through that again to experience that other content, then that's where you find a problem, right? Like if I want to go through a game and get as much out of it on my first playthrough and then not play that game again immediately, but there's certain content that is locked behind me having to go back and play it again, I think that's a problem,
like an issue.
Especially when they overtly say this content is New Game Plus only. Miles Morales does that, and it made me cranky. The minute that I saw it, I'm like, I'm never going to see that content.
Yeah.
A good way to do it. So Mario Odyssey, however, they had those squares that you could only get after you beat Bowser, and then they unlock in each world, and they release like a bunch of new like missions, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it because you can still beat the game and you can still do everything else, but then it gives you a reason to go back, as opposed to like being a tedium in the way. Like you're not missing anything. It's more content if you want it. Basically.
Right.
Well, I also think that as per usual, Mario Odyssey is the exception that proves the rule.
Nintendo just does it.
Like
they do.
Yeah, Nintendo is firing on a different set of cylinders.
They really know. Yeah.
They do what
don't worry about
Sega
these
don't.
squares if you don't care, but if you do care about these squares, it's like 30 more hours of gameplay. Enjoy.
Right. But like Miles Morales specifically says, like you hover over an ability and it's like, nope, that's New Game Plus only. I'm like, all right, great.
That's frustrating
Never gonna
when
see
you're
that
like just
ability.
trying to like, and you don't want to do it because it's so hard and annoying.
Right. Well, it's demotivating. Where a clear block that's just kind of there, you don't even take any notice of that in Mario. It's
Exactly.
just whatever. You keep
It's like,
moving.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for that baby.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's not, it's okay.
But like here, I'm agonizing over, okay, what ability am I going for next? What am I using my skill points on? Oh, just kidding. Can't use that skill at all.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
You
Thank
shouldn't
you.
gate things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, gating is definitely
Yeah.
when you
Right.
gate them properly, it can be an issue.
So Zach, what compels you to play New Game Plus versus just moving on to the next game?
Interesting.
Honestly, because of my limitations in gaming time, not a whole lot. New Game Plus is in general not very motivating to me.
Sure. If it
That's
so,
fair.
let me rephrase it for you. Actually, then, if there was something that would motivate you to move on to New Game Plus rather than going on to another game, what would it be?
Personal connection, honestly. So like the Spider-Man games, the Batman games that I've mentioned so far,
Mhm.
I love those characters. I grew up with Spider-Man. I grew up with Batman. I want all of that content.
Yeah.
So making the decision to go back and play a story that I already know is something I would consider for those games because I love those characters so much.
Mhm.
And the same would hold true for a Mass Effect, for a Gears, for anything like that. But what would really push me over the edge is if there was actually exclusive story content, whether it's a different cutscene, whether it's a different decision that I get to make it within the story. That's the kind of thing that would drive me forward.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing right there.
Gears 5 tried to do like, hey, replay Gears 5 using Dave Bautista instead of Marcus Phoenix, and I was like, yeah, no, that's not enough.
That's hilarious.
John DiMaggio is Marcus Phoenix. Come on, let's go here. In the same way that he is Bender, is in the same way he is Jake the dog. Like, keep your Drax out of my Gears. But if they said, here's a new level that is just like, it's an interlude part that happens between acts 2 and 3. Here's three new little like roads to take. I'd be like, yes, okay, I'm in. Let's do this.
Sure.
Or even just some games just already have divergent paths, like Elden Ring, Dark Souls.
Right.
You just can choose the other path now. Yeah.
Right. And Gears has done that since the beginning. You go up and you shoot, or you're working as Marcus and Dom, and if you're the top level, you're opening the door. If you're the bottom level, it's the run and gun. So you have decisions to make, but like if they introduced more forks in the road, just change a little bit of the level, shake it up, give us a new experience, give us a new path, a little bit of new dialogue.
Yeah.
That would push me. That would get me to play New Game Plus.
For sure.
Agreed. Yeah.
Josh, do you have anything to add to that? Is there something that would compel you to do New Game Plus rather than moving on to a new game?
Yeah, for me, it's a personal connection too. I would say it has to be like something I really like. Like if it's a Zelda game and it's Breath, for example, the New Game Plus is Master Mode basically, and to me that doesn't appeal to me because it's no additional story. The story is the DLC if you want it, which I didn't like care for any of that shit. So,
Yeah.
But anyway,
You didn't
not
like
how
riding
you
around
do it.
on a motorcycle?
No, right in Hyrule, like it
Yeah.
really doesn't break the fifth wall for me or whatever, you know.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh yeah, put a motorcycle in Zelda, like just fucking punch me in the face. But yeah, it'd be like
It's
being a
real American
motorcycle.
game,
Like a
Josh.
motorcycle. In
It
Elden
is
Ring.
real American game.
It's a real
Oh
American
my
game.
God.
It's terrible. Yeah, so not like that. So I was gonna say, so Elden Ring is the first game in a while that's really compelled me to do New Game Plus because of certain reasons. The main reason is I found the personal connection. I want to see the entire game. Truly, I really want to beat all of it. And the fact that New Game Plus gives you the map and everything you've already explored, but you can replay the bosses and everything. That's awesome in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
none of the gates are locked for you, but if you want, you can replay certain areas. And then the big thing is taking your character as far as it can possibly go.
Mhm.
Like as much as I want to see every inch of the story and like really understand it, like it's
And
Inception.
also being able to try out other builds without having to spend
Exactly.
hours of time investing in building up
Yes.
those stats. You know, you can go and respec and try out a new build.
And as fun as a game is to replay, sometimes for me, I'm leaning towards more wanting to New Game Plus with Elden Ring because I want to like, not have to redo all that stuff and get the same items. It's like, okay, I have nothing in the beginning, and I really just want this one spell, but I know you have to go 20 hours into the game just to get the spell even, and it's like it's just like that's the other thing. You don't have to restart. That's a huge other concept is you don't technically have to restart. This is something we kind of failed to mention is like you restart if you don't do New Game Plus. If you ever want to play that game again, you're fresh. Now, if you do New Game Plus, you're not fresh. You have the whole same armament, and you're as awesome as before. So that's kind of that draws me in hard. Like I want to see like how maxed out I can get and like really dig into each.
I like a perfect example of that is like anytime I've started a new character, and I've now have 3 characters in Elden Ring, 2 on PlayStation and 1 on PC. I go and I fight that first like intro boss, and I get my face pushed in, right?
Yeah.
Well, I on the character that I beat the game on, I started a New Game Plus, and I got to that boss, and I fucking destroyed him.
That's amazing.
Fucking killed the shit out of him, and it felt so good. I was like, I'm back, bitch. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I want that.
Yeah, it's good.
You get to like another, and it's not even, and they're probably still difficult, but it's it's like the fact that you are now godly. It's like, and your powers only grow and grow and grow because it takes 120 hours to become a god, and it's like, okay, I don't really want to waste that investment.
Yeah,
and now doubles up. So there really has to be that really, like I have to want to do it. Like if it's a Zelda game and there's like, the dialogue is going to change the next time, I'll probably want to do it.
Yeah.
It sounds like I really want to see that story. So maybe story is the answer, and like total like experience of the game.
Yeah.
Playing multi-class is like very, awesome to me too in Elden Ring, because it's like being different characters. So
yeah, for me, it's definitely
doing it.
If it can offer me a fresh experience on that next playthrough, then it's worth it. You know what games really do that very well? And part of that is because they're really short games. Is the Way of the Samurai games, which typically have like 30 different endings. But like the first Way of the Samurai game, you can beat in under an hour. The second one you can beat in like 3 hours.
Over and over.
The third one you can beat in like an hour and a half. Like all of the Way of the Samurai games are relatively short, but there's such a diversity of story threads that you can go down that like going back and playing through that game is really fun. And the New Game Plus in that is a little different, right? Like you don't really level up in that game. Or in those games really, but you find better gear and so on and learn new skills. And then you get to pick when you start over, not only do you unlock new costumes and new models and stuff, but then you can also carry over some of your gear. I think you get to pick like 2 pieces of gear from your last playthrough that you can carry into your next one, which is cool. If it was a longer game, that would be a bummer that you couldn't do all of it, but since they're such short games, it's not a big deal like to only have a couple pieces that you can carry forward, and it's actually done really nice and is pretty compelling because you can experience so many different stories, and have like this little miniature, like this little kind of isolated RPG like samurai fantasy, which is really cool. I really want those games to make a resurgence because they're excellent.
Be remake.
Yeah. So let's see. Are there any improvements that you guys would add to like the existing New Game Plus models? Let's start with you, Josh.
The alternate ending is really like enough for me, honestly. Like, I mean, improvements though. So like something that hasn't been done yet. Honestly, like Elden Ring does all that shit so nicely. I'm like, I don't know what else hasn't been done exactly. Like maybe just like completely mechanically change the game the next time, like so.
Like let's say like you got to a boss and that boss has a totally different moveset.
Exactly. Totally different moveset, for example, or different resistances and all that stuff. Yeah, and now it's like, can't fight him hand to hand now. I realize I got to be long range or any number of things. Yeah, I'd say if it was like that vastly different, that's something I would like. I would say everyone should be doing something at least in variance, like at least some noticeable differences that you're like, oh, this was cool to play again. Otherwise, I don't see the point really. Yeah.
Sure. What about you, Zach? Anything that you would add to like the existing New Game Plus models that would make them more compelling to you?
I think the biggest thing to me would be to, like, if you're gonna hide content behind New Game Plus, don't tease us with it in the main game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
like that's just, it just hurts.
That would be a surprise.
Yeah. I'd rather be a surprise and just not know it exists.
And still have something compelling enough for you to want to go back anyway, right? Exactly. Because like the problem with that would be if you have a game that you play through and you're like, okay, cool, I'm done with that game. And then you find out later from some friend that it's like you go and play New Game Plus and there's all this new content. You're like, oh, well, I didn't want to fucking go back and play that game, you know? Like, right. So like make the game like the Souls games compelling enough for you to want to go back, or like the Way of the Samurai games, you know, like they're short enough and there's enough diversity in the different playthroughs that you can have that going back for it, you know, is good. And then you get that awesome surprise of that new content. Yeah. That's good. I agree with those things. I don't know that there's, I mean, let me think. Yeah. What else could there be, you know? Because I think gating content has its issues, right? And so for there to be something, you know, that's locked behind New Game Plus without, you know, what we just talked about, there being a compelling reason to go back, you know, that makes it tough. And like you said, Josh, the Souls games, particularly Elden Ring, really cover that. Oh yeah, you know, pretty well. So if we had this discussion before playing through Elden Ring, I probably would have listed like 3 or 4 things.
We would have been like, it would have been nice if it lets you have different endings. Oh wait, that's the thing. It's like such a good example for this. It like kind of hits on everything.
Mm-hmm.
It really is the prime example for like what to do right in that example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you know, one thing is the ability to, and maybe some games already do this, but like the ability to kind of like wade through the fluff of stuff that you've already done.
Know where you've been. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Knowing where you've been is a big deal. Right. Yeah. And some games do, like, even, you know, we give Breath of the Wild shit, but that mode that they added with the DLC that allows you to see everywhere you've been on the map is actually cool, right? Like, because it keeps you from like repeatedly going back to places that you don't need to.
I think that was genius.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's good. I think that's certainly something that just about anything with New Game Plus should have. That way you're not, you know, wasting your time.
You know, like, have I been here before?
Yeah.
In a 100-hour game, kind of makes sense that you would do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right on. Well, that puts us right about an hour.
It does.
Yeah.
We still haven't answered the question that we posed at the beginning of the show. Does New Game Plus suck?
I'd say no.
I didn't answer that question. I say no as well. I think there's certainly situations where I wouldn't play it, but but overall, does that mean it sucks? No.
Well, I will say whenever I see it, even if I have no interest in playing it, I'm always like, it's nice that exists.
Yeah.
Like just literally just more content in some way. It could just not exist. And then you're done. And then I'm just like, oh, like sometimes I'm really excited to be done with the game and I want to play more. And then I'm like, New Game Plus would be great. Cross my fingers, and there's nothing. And I'm like, oh. But when I see it, I'm like, okay, even if I don't want to play, it's nice to know that I have the option.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so we're unanimous on that. I also think that it's a great concept. Am I likely to play it? Probably not. But like, it's there for some people as the best features in games. It's there for some people, even if it's not there for me.
Yeah. Now, if this was a conversation about crafting systems,
oh fuck,
I would say they suck.
Next week.
But all right, cool. Right on.
What about an auto crafting system where you just get 2 items and it automatically turns into the thing just in your inventory?
I would prefer to just find the item than crafting. Now, I do think
you could preset it to that. Be like, whenever.
Yeah.
We're getting okay. This is
maybe that's another topic. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, maybe it is. Not really.
All right,
It's
cool.
like a brief topic. If
it is a brief topic, but you know, we could probably flesh some things out, and there's some adjacent things to that we could probably throw in there. Anyway, if you're watching the show live, you are on my Twitch channel. I play games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's usually like the main story game that I'm going through, and then on Saturdays we do a samurai game, because it's Samurai Saturday. And it's been Elden Ring, but now that I've finished that game, even though I'm still playing it quite a bit, New Game Plus, you know, alternate characters, so on. I'm going to start varying that and be playing other games, so look out for that. There's actually one in particular that I want to start on Samurai Saturday pretty soon, so look forward to that. And then we're always back here on Sunday nights for the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please share it, like and subscribe too. That's cool, but you know, just share it around. We want eyes on this podcast. So,
Yep.
yeah, and then join the Discord.
Yes, so you can watch my thing.
You can say shit.
Exactly. If you want to yell at me on Twitter, it's at Ryugami-sama. I occasionally post some funny stuff on there, but
I'm just kidding.
Josh, where can we find you, man?
Yes, find me at Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TV on wherever, and maybe stream eventually. I thought me and Colin were talking about streaming Elden Ring today, no joke, and we were like getting it set up, and then they were like, "Oh, we got to go now" or something, and like literally had to go. So I was gonna stream the co-op today.
Yeah, it was my mom's birthday.
Was it?
That's where they were going. Yeah.
He was like, "We're going in 30 minutes."
Yeah.
He didn't even hear. Oh, that's funny. I probably should have said that. Anyway, and I'm Lord Yeshua. Bye. I forgot what I was saying.
I think
stream more. We love your streams.
Yeah, I'm never gonna stream again. No, I'm just kidding. I will. Donkey Kongs. Zach, where you at?
There we go. I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown. We will be live this week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, for Spider-Man Miles Morales, the second part, I think. Yeah. And then no stream on Friday this week because it's our off week from Arkham Horror, but Saturday I see no reason why we won't be back to miniatures painting. Last night Adam and I just weren't feeling it, so we decided to paint quietly off stream, which yielded cool results. But anyway, and then so that's me on Twitter. I'm DENONCZD, and mostly I just run my mouth over there. That's about it.
Cool. All right.
Made it through, guys.
Well, thanks again for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.